I'm speaking today on the behalf of millions of French people and millions of Europeans who think that the European Union is not defending Europe. The world is a world of strength, and you're talking about the you promise disappearance and decline. This history will judge you severely, as will our people.
Putin's drones are flying over Poland, and children are bombed and starved in Gaza, and we do nothing. Europe has entered a world of power, yet we are still playing chess in a boxing match. Business as usual is a recipe for another 3 years of humiliation. Europe has to stop thinking as a market and start acting as a power.
In this moment of time, whole industries in Europe are dying. That's a reality on the ground. We support an ambitious climate approach for 2050, no doubt about this. But we need a technologically neutral approach. Nuclear energy, combustion engine, and we have to screen the legislation on practicability. That is what we have to do, and we have to do it fast. Dear friends, more single market, more flagship projects, more investments, more digital. We all agreed in this House on the Draghi agenda, and now Draghi is asking us, what are you waiting for in this moment of time? Socialists, I have to say, voted in the Ample Committee against the omnibus, for the rejection of the omnibus proposals. And I listened that also, Irache, you said publicly that socialists take the US trade agreement into question. You don't know whether you will support it or not. I tell you, this behavior is splitting the platform. This is exactly what is harming the European agenda. We have to deliver now.
Europe was once a dream, a continent where families could build their own homes through hard work, a continent that was the engine of global progress, a Europe where women could live safely, the poor were protected by good social legislation, and young people had the opportunity to make something out of their lives by working. But this dream has been destroyed by politicians like Angela Merkel and Ursula von der Leyen. While the global economy is growing and new markets are emerging, Europe is falling behind. We know why. To know that, you just have to listen to Ursula von der Leyen's speech. Not once did she mention the core of the market economy. European entrepreneurial freedom, centrally planned billion programs, bureaucracy from the top down. But prosperity comes from work, innovation, entrepreneurial courage, not from 5-year plans from Ursula von der Leyen. You are favouring American industries. Wines, cosmetics, luxury products and cosmetics are sacrificed. Around us, Canada, the UK, Australia, Japan or South Korea have better agreements than we have. In other words, even the smallest countries are better at defending their interests than you're doing when it comes to the US a few years ago.
We cannot allow Orbán and crazy Fico that they turn the European Union into a foolish organization, dear colleagues. And just a final point on the nationalists, because we are attacked by both sides. One word to the nationalists at the end. The nationalists here in this House applaud to America first. They are friends of American tech billionaire Musk. They are friends. Nationalists applaud to America first. And they are friends of American tech billionaire like Musk. They follow the agenda of the tech money. The reality is nationalists are not patriots. They turn Europe into a colony of Silicon Valley and Washington, even worse, of Moscow. And that's why we will never allow this, dear friends, never allow this.
The military parade of the Chinese leader, dressed like Mao Zedong, holding hands with Putin and Kim Jong-un, is no laughing matter. It reminds us that the world is a dangerous place, a place where regimes make no secret of their will to reshape the global order, even by force. Being aware of this reality does not mean that we should adopt a foolishly muscular attitude. but rather that we should strengthen our values, our economy, our defence and our alliances. We welcome the agreement reached with the American administration on tariffs, not because it's perfect, but because it's certainly better than a trade war between allies who need each other. We must have the courage as Europeans to make the right choices at the right time. The trade deal that you concluded with the United States is an attack on our industrial base and will destroy thousands of jobs. And praising that deal really requires a high level of cognitive dissonance. While Donald Trump is rapidly turning the USA into an authoritarian state, you've made European politics subservient to US economic and military interests. You're sacrificing energy sovereignty, our digital markets, security and climate protection on the Atlantic of the empty phrase transatlantic partnership.
Security is more than weapons alone. This is about moral leadership. And here we have to talk about Gaza. Will we only start acting on Gaza when there is no Gaza left? When all the buildings are razed to the ground and all peoples have fled or are being killed? We need action, we need sanctions. And we do welcome the proposals that you made. But we need more.
The Green Deal was conceived and desired in a different geopolitical era. Today, it is too great an obstacle to European competitiveness. I would remind you that economic development is a prerequisite for having the resources to spend on military defence, welfare, and environmental protection. Maintaining the duties imposed by the European Union on its own industry, and even adding 5 new taxes of its own in the new multi-year budget, means going in the wrong direction. Your words are not enough. The association agreement with Israel must be suspended, weapons deliveries discontinued, and the far-right ministers of the Netanyahu government must be sanctioned. For 3.5 years, the EU has played no diplomatic role in trying to forge peace in Europe. Today, you've talked a lot about security guarantees for Ukraine and sanctions on Russia, but you can't hide the irrelevance of Europe's security and foreign policy.
This is Europe's independence moment. Europe should take control over its own security, technology, and energy, and stand up for its values. Madam President, I note that several of the issues you mentioned today are completely in line with the Danish presidency's priorities: a secure Europe and a competitive and green Europe. Let me highlight a few. Our firm solidarity with Ukraine and its people at a crucial time, and the need to support more. Our Rearm Europe investment plan to strengthen Europe's defense industry and production so that we can defend ourselves by 2030 at the latest. The need for European Union to continue protecting the rule-based international order, especially in the light of the ongoing conflicts.